So hello and welcome to CMQs, the Scottish Sun's politics show. Some of you might remember when we had Anna Sarah and also Kate Forbes virtually come into this room and be grilled with quick-fire questions. We introduced at that point the big scary red buzzer of waffle, and it is making its return today. And the reason why is because with me, I'm Conor Matchett, Scottish political editor, is the new Scotland Secretary, Ian Murray. Ian Murray, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
Great, and slightly nervous of your buzzer.
Good, so you should be.
Is that a short enough answer?
Yeah, that's perfect. See, no use. I'm going to be kind with timings. In some places, we'll be tough on others. We'll start off with an easy one. We'll have about 10 minutes. But how are you finding, you've waited a long old time to get in there, how are you finding being in Dover House?
Loving it. The responsibility is big, the privilege is huge, the entry is bulging, but actually it's getting stuff into that outtray, which is really quite good. Prime Minister's been clear, Scotland is at the heart of this UK Labour government, we've seen that already, and really enjoying it. Fantastic.
Well, before we get into the more fun questions, we'd be remiss not to mention the big story of the day, which is obviously the news at Grangemouth. Shortly after you were elected, you told people that there was very positive news to be coming and that it was a major priority of the UK Labour government. Obviously, that's not happened. Could you have done more, you and the Scottish government together?
Well, look, the first briefing I got first thing on Saturday morning after being given the keys to Dover House was to have a briefing on Grangemouth. Myself and the Secretary of State, Ed Miliband, got together with Gillian Martin, the Cabinet Secretary in Scotland. We've worked hand in glove. Michael Shanks is obviously the Scottish MP, is the Energy Minister, new Energy Minister. And we've done everything we possibly can. This is a commercial decision from PetroEneos to close the refinery. They announced it in March. It's no surprise. It was a matter of when, not if. But we did have some positive news. We jointly funded the Project Willow, which is about looking at the future of the entire Grangemouth site. Of course, the refinery is a key component of it. As we've said today, there's a big funding package in there. We've got the growth deal through, the Falkirk Grangemouth growth deal. That's £100 million. Well, 80 million plus an extra 20 on the basis of what's happening at Grangemouth. So there is a positive story about the future. The short term is difficult. I can't imagine what the workforce are going through today with their families in the local community. That is really disastrous. But we have to work together with the Scottish Government, and we have been working hand in glove to get a much more positive future. Project Willow should give us the basis for that. The National Wealth Fund and the Secretary of State, Ed Miliband, has said that we would help fund what that wants to achieve. And therefore, there is a long-term positive future for Grangemouth, but the short-term stuff is pretty disastrous for the workforce.
Was it ever on the table to do a kind of, our readers and viewers will be familiar with the nationalisation of like Ferguson Marine and money being pumped into BIFAB. Was that any prospect of the UK government getting involved and taking on Grangemouth to keep it going until there was a green future and keeping those workers there?
It was never a possibility because it was never an option that the companies, I understand, that were ever willing to countenance. They had made the commercial decision to close it, and there was no turning that around.
So when they announced in November it was doomed?
I think that's a perfectly reasonable assessment to come to. Now, we've left no stone unturned. We've only been in 9 weeks. I wish we'd been in 9 years. We might have been able to do something about this. But given that short time scale, given the way the company wanted to close the refinery and given the circumstances that we found ourselves in, we've done everything we possibly can. I think the package of measures that we've got in place for the short, medium and longer term are positive, although it starts from a foundation of a pretty poor and a pretty dreadful story.
That 20 million quid, that extra 20 million, you really think that's enough? That feels like small fry for something as big and integral to Scottish economy as Grangemouth?
Well, this is about Falkirk Grangemouth growth deal, so it's about a whole host of things. It's about skills, it's about just transition, it's about the clean energy future, and it's a commitment from both governments jointly to do something about the long-term future of the entire site. Grangemouth is an incredibly important piece of industrial infrastructure for our clean energy future, and therefore it's really important to make sure that that's done properly. Project Willow, which should conclude by January, will give us hopefully a blueprint of a way forward.
Right, you can relax now, so it's easier questions than that. We'll start off with what would you prefer, Hearts to win the Premiership or for Labour to win in 2026? Only one can happen.
Only one can happen?
Only one can happen.
And would Hearts win the league before 2026?
Yes.
It's a very difficult question, isn't it? I suspect, given its Hearts, we would sneak the election and lose the league very late on